So I got the camera back up here where you can see it and the transmitter. I'm going to try to keep it in focus for you guys. It's going to come in and out of focus. It's the problem with cell phones, so I'll do my best to try to walk things through and hopefully it stays in focus for you. So the ST10 Plus is it's a really nice transmitter. I love that they have dedicated buttons for taking photos and videos. I love that it's really simple on the side to be able to tilt the gimbal up or down. You know, it has easy, accessible, it makes everything really nice and easy. The transmitter does feel a bit large in your hands, but once you get going, it really isn't a problem. It just feels good. By the way, people are wondering about the beeping. That lets you know when your sticks are at center. So if I let them go, they snap back up. It lets you know when you're at center point. So that's what the beeping is. Also, anytime you adjust your speed or your camera tilt, you're going to get beeps when it's at center point. The moment you hit center point, it beeps. So that's what your beeping is, guys. I really have only flown this in angle mode. There's no way for me to explain to you the smart features except for just tell you what I know about them, because I have not had a chance to go out and play with these modes yet. Now, I do know that I have your look at me or point of interest smartwatch where it'll just stare at you, and you can tell it to follow you or do different functionality when it's in smart mode. But also remember that when you're in smart mode and you activate or you start off in smart mode, that it's got geofencing. You have to be a certain distance away to take off. You just have to. It is a necessity of having the ST10 Plus with the geofencing on smart. So also, if you do a return to home, if you activate RTH, it's going to come back to you. But if you're in smart mode, it is going to land a ways away from you. It's going to land that 26 or 18 feet. I can't remember what it is. It's one of those, but it's definitely going to land away from you. But other than that, it's pretty easy to distinguish most of the stuff that's on here. If you really wanted to mess with like getting into adjusting angle and pitch and altitude and stuff like that, you really need to connect the drone to your PC and pop up the GUI program, because that gives you all the information and all the stats and every little adjustment that you can possibly make as part of the GUI program. So that is something to consider. This is just going to give you your basic stuff on the transmitter. I have mine as Danny Boy and Typhoon G. We're going to select G again. Don't need to worry about reconnecting. I got to give it a sec here to try to reconnect. But everything is very self-explanatory. It gives you all the simple stuff. You can switch your units to Imperial if you want to. Let's push the back button here. Let's see what the hardware monitor has. So you can make some adjustments here. Okay, I would not suggest messing with too much of this, but you can. But it does show you what's going on. I don't know if I would really play with too much of these unless you, like I said, know what you're doing. Let's see what the other slider does if I slide it up here. So it does show you that it's doing things. I don't want to mess with any of this because I don't know what it is yet. It looks like you can play with some of the settings here. I really don't want to start touching things that I don't know about without researching. So you can select mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, or mode 4 right from here. I'm a mode 2 flyer. So, and then camera select, obviously. I have it set for CG03 Pro. And then you can bind to the plane, but I don't need to. And that's your basic settings there for flight settings. We'll go into system settings and do a run through if I can get it to activate. Okay. Battery language, reset date, time, flight mode control. And it tells you your Android breakdown version, your kennel version. Looks like you can do your update from here, system update. But it doesn't need to. I already checked both of them, so we're good. But it's pretty simple. The only thing I haven't been able to figure out how to adjust is the brightness settings. So other than that, I mean, everything is fairly self-explanatory on here. If this was active and the camera was on, you could hit settings and then adjust your camera settings as needed. But right now the camera's not set, so I'm sure you can perform your own custom tunes to the camera job if you need to, but other than that, fairly simple. Your trims do not work for this bird, I don't think. I pushed them a couple times and it didn't do anything, so I don't think the trim buttons actually do anything for the Typhoon G, but they are here if you need them. Dedicated stop and start motor button. So basically you would just land it when it's down, let off, and then hold start or stop. Motors would engage, hold it again, motors would not engage. Now I'm a little puzzled by people saying blah 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 that while they were flying they on accident pushed the red button and it fell out of the sky. To get the motors to deactivate, you have to hold this for a good second. So unless somebody was really being dumb or not paying attention or just like, oh gee, I wonder what happens if I push this button. Yeah, it's not hard to figure out that button's gonna stop you. However, for someone to actually just hold it down for the amount of time it takes to disarm the motors while you're flying seems not legit to me. I heard people were actually doing it. That's very confusing to me. So, angle mode is your basic normal flight patterns, which is what I fly, and I like to choose my course and I like to tell it what to do. It feels more comfortable having full control over the bird. I know that there's really not much of a breakdown to this transmitter. It's nice and simple for every user. Charge port right here. Like it's just a very simple transmitter. There's not much to it, but it does have your basic needs for flight and the ability to switch the camera on the go. It's very responsive. The only thing that I would have to say I haven't been too totally excited about is that there is lag with the FPV. So the next thing we're going to do, as soon as I can come up with that extra money, I know that I was going to buy the antenna upgrade for this and the Solo, but we decided to do the Manatee trip while they're running right now. The Manatees are doing their run through Crystal River. They do it for a very short period of time, so we decided we were going to do that. I was going to spend the $60 on that instead of trying to go out and fork out all the extra cash for getting antennas, but we will get to this at some point. We will do the antenna mod for the Wi-Fi antenna. But other than that, I mean, fairly simple. Do I like it so far? I love it. It's an excellent, easy transmitter for most people to learn. I don't need the smart features. I'm an angle mode flyer. I prefer being able to tell the bird what to do when I want it to do it. That's why I'm able to fly so good over the top of the water. So when you see me flying this FPV over the water, I'm flying using just the screen. So the lag is there. You can see the lag physically, especially if you start going out further, it will lag. Sometimes I'll have to stop and give it a chance to recover the signal, and then once it goes, then it picks up the feed again. But the lag is not enough to divert me from not saying that it's a good FPV flyer. It absolutely is, and I think with better antennas, it would be even a better FPV flyer. The screen resolution is good until you start getting out further, and then you can see it start to kind of wish-wash out and distort a little bit. And that's to be expected on Wi-Fi. But we're talking, 1,200 feet out, guys, before it starts to do stuff like that. So most of the time, it'll pick up a fairly good Wi-Fi signal and have a pretty clear image for the most part. But D. Weenie asked me to do a breakdown of the transmitter, and that's really all there is to it, man. There's no complication at all. I would say if you were going to purchase this, though, you should probably get the Wizard as well. But that's my fairly simple breakdown of the ST10 Plus for the Yuneec Q500 or Typhoon G, and or heck, even the Chroma. This thing's been used for a couple birds. But I'm out of here. I have a project I have to do now, unfortunately. We're going to shut this off. I have a project that has to be done here. These are the dog bone joints that were inside the boat. This one here actually is the part that went into the motor. It snapped the motor shaft completely off the new ESC. It was so torquey. It twisted it right off there. So the cast in there, the motor, completely shot. It ripped it clean in half, and the prop is still spinning. The whole prop is still intact. It actually tore the steel. It just spun it right off. So I have a new dog bone. I ordered that a while ago, knowing that I was probably gonna have to replace it at some point. But now the problem is that the old dog bone joints here, the grub screw is completely stripped, so now I have to get my grinder on there and grind that out. so I can remove the drive shaft to fix it. And then I had to order a new motor because there's no fixing the motor shaft. So even though the motor still spins and it takes active, it actively says what to do and tells it what to do, it was $20 to buy a motor, and it was $15 for a repair kit. So it wasn't really a question as what I should do. I went ahead and just ordered the motor, and we're just going to replace the motor. So once again, the FT012 is down. I love it so much, I just keep fixing it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I have problems, people. I have RC addiction. And when I find something I like, I will pour money into it. Hence the Hubsan, and why I took the Hubsan to such an extent that I did, to make it a good flyer. That's it, guys. Drone worship, and I'm out. Toodaloo.